Hey, oh, we're live. Dang. Okay.
Well,
Sorry.
hello. Hey,
Good evening, good morning,
look
and
at
good
that.
day.
It's a
I was gonna,
podcast.
it's a fi- it's the guy with the other guy. Today
Hey,
going
he's
with
a, he's a
two different color
donut.
schemes.
He's a
What's up with the color
donut.
scheme, man? All red on your side and all dark or black on my side. Like, did we call each
I,
other or something?
I think I was just it was just something in the air. I felt like
Ah,
we really gotta fire engine up this
como se dice, je ne
project.
sais quoi, como ça?
I'm definitely wearing like the least structurally intact shirt to support the weight of a Rode Wireless Go mic.
I was
So I'm
gonna
trying to
say,
like not move
not.
because
I
it's
should
gonna
have
just
done. You know
flop
what? I
all over
should have
the
done the
place.
same thing though. I really should have. I should have hooked up my mic, my Rode mic, and just had my Rode right here, and I'll have Josh hook up his. We'll just say, and we'll say it's not sponsored by Rode. We'll just start it up that way.
Nope.
Um.
No
Oh,
no money's from Rode, but man, if I haven't if this little mic hasn't like completely changed up my
it has. Oh my God!
my
It
on the go review strategy.
everything. Mobile. Last week's podcast when we did it at the at the park. At the
At Lake Balboa
wow.
on
Okay.
location.
On location. Okay, we're definitely going. Um, so it did a massive job of isolating our voices and not picking up any music. Like I could not hear a single beat from everything you and I were listening to, and I was so happy because I mean, not that we're monetized or anything like that, but I do want to say that it was fun, and I really can't wait to do it more. In
Yeah.
person, just kicking it, and the dynamic is a little bit different too. You know what I mean? Like when you're in person, you're outdoors, you're worried about all the planes flying over you or the birds. That just
Or for me, it's just the annoyance of like in an online conversation,
yeah,
how you can't hear people.
yeah. No, I
Right?
know.
So you're talking, you're in the middle of something, and like, if there are multiple people and someone's trying to chime in with something and every volume level is different, and you can't hear what that sounds like for when people are watching, and like Twitter Spaces. I've been just kind of lurking in a bunch
I
of my friends' Twitter
They've been
Spaces,
quite active lately.
and
Yes.
they are infuriating to have a practical conversation in, because one person will just keep going, not hearing anyone else like trying to interject or poke in the natural ways that we can kind of communicate that we want to have that separation or that ebb and flow of a conversation.
Hmm.
And then one person comes blasting in crazy loud, another person is like barely audible. I mean, it's just we're so close to making this stuff awesome, but like we're still so far from
It
it being
so
useful.
a lot of it also has to do with the hardware that we're using, which is also very different. Like everybody's using a different mic, everybody's using a different connection. There's so many parts of that equation. Like what we have right now is this is a pre-constructed setup, right? We use this every week. You
Hmm.
use it for your show, I use it for mine. It's pretty much easy to go. And what I like about the road, especially when we are on the road, no pun intended, um, is the fact that it works beautifully. I, I caught myself saying it. It's because the fact that the audio was so good, so clean,
Hmm.
and and like I said, the backup audio was also there in case I ever did have any problems with the online version. There's a whole bunch of things because I have audio turned on for both recording, so it just continuously keeps recording as we're using it. So it was fun, and
Good.
hashtag some Amazon chilled guy. I see we have our buds here. Greg is in there. Dave Burns, Gary the fireman, the man, the myth, the fireman himself. Aditya Anil, our Mr. Benedict Cumberbatch
Hey,
to
we
the
got
show,
Barry. What's up,
and
Barry?
Barry's in there as well. Let me see who else. I think.
We got
Oh,
like
and
the
then we
full
have
romper room going on here.
Darren is in the chat as well, and I think we have
Darren
Michael.
Michael.
Michael was in there. Oh man, we got a whole bunch of people. We showed up late to the
Yeah.
show, man. That's one way to do it.
Man, you guys are all like real lit
Oh,
to hear me
JGJ's in
like
there as
get
well.
cranky about Apple
iPhones,
again.
Apple stuff.
Everyone's like super excited for me to
Is
be
that what
all
happened
depressed
this
about
week?
Apple. This is like
Is that what
the
happened?
best.
I heard about something like that. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So yeah, I got a bunch of really snarky comments like, "Oh, right, you're not gonna feed the algorithm, but then you make a video that's all about Apple, so you could feed the algorithm." And I need to point this out. I spoke into a camera lens for like, I don't know, 6 minutes,
Mm-hmm.
and 40,000 views in the first like 3 hours that video was out.
Yeah.
Then it died. I mean,
Oh,
like
yeah, yeah. No,
YouTube has like cut it off.
Oh,
I
that's
put
when Marquez dropped this video. That's why.
I put a week's worth
Oh,
of effort into shooting samples. Oh, is Josh here?
yeah. Hold on. Let me bring
Yeah, yeah.
in
Bring
our.
Josh in. I'll wrap this up here real quick. So
Hold on.
I
How do
put
we
a
do
week's
this?
worth of effort
Yeah, we'll do it
into
this way.
shooting samples, doing my math, comparing camera sensors, putting all of these pieces together,
Josh is
and that
starting
video's
ahead.
I think at like 1,000 views. And you're like, if I needed any more evidence to show how much of a thirst trap YouTube is and how much of a gatekeeper they are in between a creator and their audience, these two videos this week are perfect examples of the rampant manipulation of people's feeds and uh, the hyper manipulation of your content. Because like I could not show you better how much more I cared about one video than the other, and how much of a disruptor YouTube is for the people that subscribe to my channel. Hey,
Well,
Josh.
with that on that note,
Great place to
hey,
start. I came right into the lobby, and the first word I heard was algorithm, and I was like, "Here we go."
yep.
Yeah. No,
So
this
at
is
that
why we
point,
needed
Josh
you
said,
this
"Let me
week
just
because
pour."
I'm really not looking to be the let me just complain about everything, and I needed the friendly face. So you're basically going to be therapy this
Well,
week.
the
It's
friendly
going to be
face who
great.
was in the middle of an edit literally called iPhone 13 event top 5 takeaways. So I'm doing it too. I mean, and at the
Perfect.
beginning of the video, I literally go, I had a couple of days to think about it, and I decided I'm going to do one of these videos too. And then here it comes.
Yeah, I might take the video I published today and retitle it when I go to bed, How Apple Scams Consumers Buying the iPhone, just to get Apple and iPhone and keyword and SEO. And I'm still going to leave the thumbnail, which has Samsung's up on the thumbnail. And then just like, why not? Why not be that guy?
Well,
See,
my favorite meta thing right now is everybody like photoshopping the 13 into their hands. Like, it's like my favorite thing right now.
So
But, like,
mine is I was holding the Pixel 5a and I cut it out so it was just a black rectangle. So my prop was a Pixel, but I didn't try to
and then
fake
here are the
the
here is the other
iPhone
two.
that I don't have.
yeah, I gosh, you know what though? Like TK's got it right over there. I should be signing up for those like those
Dummies.
dummy units. Yeah.
I was just surprised that they were able, and they were actually like good, not like oh that kind of looked like when I was watching the event, I'm like, man, they got it right. It's the exact same. So kudos for Subcase on this one.
Ooh, diagonal. It's diagonal now. Ooh.
Yeah, no. So first and foremost, obviously, welcome back, Josh. It's been a minute. It's been a
It
minute, but
has.
you look good, dude. You look like you got a little bit of a tan. I would say
Okay, yeah, I
since
was
the last
actually
time.
gonna say, like, you can
That
see this here. This hasn't gone away yet. Well, I wear glasses every day, so when I got this tan in Hawaii when I went a month ago, it's not gonna go away. I keep wearing glasses.
well, you're
So
rocking the Ray-Bans, man. What are you doing, man?
I
So that was it.
am.
So yeah, I saw you and Issa kicking it. You picked up some of those Ray-Bans. Those look
Oh.
some nice, sick looking glasses there, man. They definitely
And I
look
make
nice.
sure to turn them off as much as possible because Lord only knows there could be a GPS tracker in here, and Facebook's like, we know where you are, like the entire time.
Wait till you start seeing some commercials for things that you didn't even know you were talking about. No, I kid, but it is. It's finally there. I mean, obviously the Ray-Ban glasses were announced. I mean, we saw them and you guys got a chance to play with them or check them out. And I saw the content that you guys put out, you and Issa. So I do want to say also welcome back, Issa. I know she's not in the frame, but I just want to say,
Yeah, she's with my parents right now, so
yeah, no, yeah, no, I know it's good. And then that's probably why Josh is, with that big old smile on his face all the time. He's back with the
no
love of
one
his
has
life.
heard from me. Like
I totally no, absolutely. This is serious. The moment Issa landed, other than I'm picking her up from the airport,
Josh
it
went
was
radio silent.
It was silent the whole time till I just like, hey, we're talking iPhones. Do you want to join us tonight? But totally no.
It's like TK peeking into and like you hear that. Josh, are you there?
Yeah. So I was
But
like,
yeah,
nah,
I mean,
dude.
I've been here.
Yeah.
I mean, it's unfortunate that I wasn't able to, because okay, so we did do that Qualcomm trip like a week or so
That's
ago.
true. Yeah. No,
So we
that
were able
looked
to
like a
do
lot of
that.
fun. Stevie Aoki, Qualcomm Sound, all that stuff.
Also a deluge of rain, which was pretty crazy.
Oh, okay.
New York City just became like I okay. No making light of what was actually a pretty horrendous thing that happened, because some people actually did lose their lives, and like the flooding in New York was that insane.
Okay.
So with that being said, we did keep thinking, like, because Michael Fisher, the good Mr. Mobile, and David Kogan were with us, and they live in a different part of New York from where we were. So it was impossible for them to get home at the time that they wanted to go home.
Oh,
So
okay.
we had images, and we kept cracking up at this image of them like kayaking in the subway. Like, like I kept thinking that would have been pretty hilarious
Well,
if
I
we
mean,
could make
Michael
that.
is an accomplished sailor. I feel he could have handled himself.
Well, I'm not gonna, at the risk of spilling any tea about how that night ended up going, let's just say we were out for a long time. And thank God for New York City never being the city that never sleeps. We were able to ride out the storm quite literally, like in a bar.
In a bar.
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad you guys had some fun. And again, welcome back to East End, but welcome back to you, obviously, to the show. This week has been an interesting week. It's been a trio of announcements, of launch events. Obviously, the biggest one we started talking about, Juan and I were talking about the iPhone release or launch event. Xiaomi went the day after. Obviously, we had the Xiaomi 11. I gotta stop saying the Mi 11 because they dropped the Mi out of the
Took
title.
me out of it. Yeah.
They took you out of it. That's exactly what I was going to say. Thank you for walking into that one. No, I keep like it kills me because on the box it says Xiaomi 11T Pro, but every time I say it, I keep wanting to say the Mi. So, but yes,
The me sound in that M combination at the end of Xiaomi me is a trigger word for one of my mild stutters. And it took me so long when I
to
was
do.
reviewing the Mi 11, Mi 11i. It took
Mhm.
me so long to kind of figure out my hook that now I can't unsay it. So now
Now you
when I
have to say
try, I have the brain lock on. Oh wait, no, I'm
Xiaomi
not
Mi.
supposed to say me and Xiaomi 11, and it's like it's so deliberate out of my
It
face now.
it was
It
engraved
sounds
for so
completely
long.
unnatural.
Well, because we have the Mi 11 Ultra, we have the Mi 11, Mi
Yeah.
11 Pro, we have the Mi 11 Lite. There's so many Mi 11 Mi series in the beginning of the year, and then of course now we're like just T and 11, and then
TK,
there's
shut up.
yes,
It's
I know.
Isa.
Oh, dude. Okay, hold on a second. Hold on. I gotta stop. I gotta look in. Hold on. Wait. What am I doing here?
What?
Go.
Not you.
You know what
That's
I'm. You know what
incorrect.
I'm trying to do this. I didn't say I was a professional. Hi, Isa.
It's great seeing you guys.
Hey,
That's great seeing
We're-
you too.
we're
Train
actually
wreck
not
that the
good at what
show
we
is.
do.
No, absolutely.
No, you
It
guys are
defaults to the
awesome.
host. That's my fault.
That was amazing what just happened.
I minimize you guys. I'm like, hey, forget about you. How are you, dude? How are you doing?
I'm doing well. I don't know. Like yesterday was such a busy day, but then today it was just like my brain said stop.
A little
So,
closer there.
so it's a wonderful day today. So I'd say good. I'm doing good.
I'm doing good.
Good.
Taking a
That's
break a
great.
little bit from the consistent barrage of things to cover, but
Mm-hmm.
no, I'm glad you're doing well. I'm glad that you're here, and I'm also glad that you're able to stay a little bit longer. I was telling Josh before you came in to say hi and say welcome back, and nice to have you this side of the Pacific. Let's just say that.
I know. It's been fun. And like, I should see you guys, you two. I haven't
Hopefully.
even seen either of you, but
It's
hopefully
we're gonna have to work something out. Yeah, Josh and I and Juan, we need to kind of work out some time.
Though I
And
will
then
admit,
hopefully-
like it will have to be on a weekend because I became a what's the best way for me to put this? I'm
he
a
has a strict diet on weekdays.
yeah, I'm now a weekend
Oh.
I'm a weekend carnivore now.
Gotcha.
Oh.
I actually went pretty plant based
Yeah,
throughout the week.
he turns
like-
into a
good.
dinosaur on weekends.
Herbivore Monday to Friday, carnivore Saturday, Sunday. But
That's the
but
best way to
scotch
put it.
throughout the week.
But when the weekend comes by though, all bets are off. Like you're gonna see something special once I get
Yeah.
Dude, I'm still remembering your birthday stuff, dude. That was some really good food. So definitely. Juan and I will have to set something up, hopefully, with both of you before things get busy. I mean, it's gonna get busy again. There's no
So
question.
you
Things are
mean
coming.
before next week?
Yeah, sometime
Yeah,
before
be-
next Wednesday.
Within the next, like, I don't know, 37 minutes,
Oh, by
We
next
should
Friday,
try.
the 24th is when everybody's going to get their phones. So yeah, I would say before the 24th, we can set
I
something
don't
up.
know what you are alluding to, Mr. Bay.
Absolutely nothing, my friend. But I'm just anticipating the, no, and it is. But I'm
We
glad that
need
you're
someone
doing
to
good.
come up with a witty hashtag breaking embargoes or something. I don't know what you could
Hashtag
possibly
breaking
have been referencing
embargoes.
there.
Dude, there was embargoes is such a funny thing. I've heard I know people that have broken embargoes and that have been perfectly fine, and I've
Mhm.
known others that broken embargoes that no longer get called anymore. So I don't understand this line that we'd like to call
That
embargoes, but
that stuff, like whatever is in the agreement, like they do adhere to it. You know,
I
I not to say what the situation was, but let's just say I was on a an ish list for 2 years, and I was, and now I'm working on
oh
it.
yeah, no.
Yeah.
By the way, I wasn't actually talking about you. I was actually talking about something that recently happened.
Oh no, I know that, but like
Yeah,
I
yeah,
was
yeah.
just saying, like just coming from
Yeah.
experience, like they do actually
Like
punish for that kind of
Yeah.
coming
stuff.
from the
Yeah,
little I know, coming from the little I know when I did law school, it's basically it all boils down to what action the company wants to take. There's an agreement, so they can be harsh about it, but if they do decide to give you a free pass, right? It's a free pass. So I guess it depends on the brand and the company handling it and how they
We'll have to
decide to
see.
go about it. Yeah.
What was
yeah.
the
I
situation that
broke.
happened this week?
Uh,
No, nothing serious.
Yeah, Red Magic stuff.
It's
If you so the Red Magic had an embargo of early this week, not early, like late last week, for coverage. But then there, I guess, some communication issues or something like that. There was some creators that were able to post their content way ahead of everybody else that kind of superseded the wave in a certain way. So yeah,
Oh,
that.
interesting.
yeah.
So it seems like it also could have been a miscommunication from their PR that some creators were sort of highlighted for a first wave of content, which
There's always that
is
dual.
less good
Hmm.
for how you build a kind of community of people that are interested in talking about your products.
That's
Yeah,
true. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Just
it is.
everyone, just be late. You know, if you want to be safe, just be late. That's all.
I, I,
I like
I just do it the way Josh does it. He takes his time. He lets it brew like tea, and
he
he lands
sets
with
his
that.
own embargoes.
It was an
I
embargo,
love
but
it.
then it just embar went. You know, it just embar went.
It,
Stop.
it
And then bar stop.
One thing I wanted to say though, I did notice that Issa was very excited about the iPhone launch event, specifically for a specific color.
Oren, come
So,
on.
yeah, as soon as the show was over, Issa, it was on Instagram, it was on,
Uh-huh.
I want to say Twitter, whatever. But yeah, no, I'm very glad that there's some better
I
color options, I guess.
I know, me too. I actually like accidentally threw my phone around and then stopped paying attention. So like the pink phone got announced. I started shooting a TikTok and then freaking out. I couldn't hold on to my actual phone.
One,
And then like I was asking Joshua when the phones would be available because I stopped paying attention to everything.
Yeah,
the show was over.
once the word pink happened, like she was paying no attention whatsoever. Even later on during the day, she was like, "So when are they coming out again?" I'm like, "Babe, you were we literally watched the entire keynote. I mean, come on. I'm about to download the keynote for
Oh
a
my
video. I mean, come
God.
on."
Well, it's refreshing to hear like an actual beat of an excitement. Because like in Techie Land right now, we're having this sort of like fake drama debate about, just how awful leaks are, and man, it's not even worth talking about the 2022 iPhone anymore. We got to talk about the 2023 iPhone. I heard it was going to have
2014.
satellite calling, and you're like, we haven't even gotten
There's
the
already a
iPhone
hashtag for
13
iPhone 14 already.
Yeah.
in our
Crazy.
hands yet,
No,
and
there's
we're
such an
already playing this
easy
game.
there's an easy solution to that if you're gonna kvetch about it all over the internet. Stop reading leaks. Like I literally work for Pocket Now. I don't read Pocket Now for that
You know,
very reason.
so Josh, I mean, but to that point, I think one of the things why I liked the way Pocket Now covered leaks was because they were reporting on someone else's leak. They weren't
Yes.
trying to break the leak.
Yes.
So the difference is, I feel like the people that are really big in the leak game right now are getting way better about tracking those search terms that people are trying to use to get around leaks. Official, confirmed, all of these like demonstrative SEO titles that people would use to get around rumor and try to get to something that's kind of factual. And so now, I mean, you can make a good faith effort to try and not do leaks. But as you're searching for this kind of content, you're just wanting to talk about some of this stuff pre-release. You're running into this sort of SEO bastardization of content coming from people that now, when they get leaks wrong, can't even own it, and they get all childish about it, and it sucks even more of the fun out of that anticipation conversation because it's now just all trumped up on someone's ego.
Well, I mean,
Well,
it sucks, right? Because that also happens even outside of the leakage, where you have like the
leakage.
the leakage. But
wrong show. People just understand this is a different kind of
No,
show.
no, correct
all,
show. I mean,
all the comments are talking about leakage right now.
sorry. No, what I mean is outside of just like leak culture is like we already have when a phone is first announced.
Mm-hmm.
So many pieces of content out there already have the word review in it, and it's like it's not a review. Dude.
Oh, this whole 24-hour review, 48 hours. I'm like, how did you do a review in 24 hours, my friend? You barely opened the box. Come on.
A review.
Don't get me wrong. I don't mind saying, you can say 24-hour impressions. I reviewed It's a good box. It's light. It has a charger. No, I did. Now honestly, my unboxings are shorts. There's no point in putting an unboxing anywhere. Phones are becoming literally, at some point we're going to get boxes with phones inside.
But here's what's kind of refreshing though is like, as we've seen this sort of template, you get the phone, you do an unboxing, you do a 24 hours video, you do like a first week, and then we used to. I mean, that was the gig that Tony would always kind of break down when I was writing.
Yeah, that was that used to be the spiel
like,
back in the day.
There was like a structure, and it
there's
still
some
works.
merit to it, yeah.
But this has opened up this huge kind of gap where the obligation unboxings, I think, are tanking because they're obligatory. But like Tech King Mike got the Z Fold 3, and like dude was legit excited to be peeling this box, and like his hands are trembling as he's holding this phone, and you can hear how excited he really was to get to play with that product. I could watch that video on a loop all day. Like that to me is where there's now this huge opportunity to kind of break out that mold and kind of end run around some of these things that feel like for me, I'm never going to do an unboxing. I might do a live stream and hang out with some people in chat while I set a phone up, but I'm not going to shoot that style of video because it's really not honest. I'm not going to be sharing that excitement with people. Like, this is a part of my job to take out this product, get it set up, and get it ready for me to talk to my audience about what it can do or what it might not be good at. That's a different gig, and I don't want to try and fake that because it's going to read really disingenuous. It's like, oh my gosh, guys, it's a phone. Like that's hack. That's so hack.
It's funny you say that because, especially being a newer creator, right? Like, I was looking to find a way to add to the unboxing experience when I started unboxing things, especially when I was like not in the US, when I'd get devices late. Like, what is the point of me unboxing a device that's been out like 3 weeks, right? It's like, what's the point? I'm not gonna get anything different about it. But it's also why I started doing like camera tours, because that's what I do.
You changed the
phones. And so, like, to me, it's like, I get it. Like, what is the whole point if it's old? But on the other hand, it's like, what value can you add to this video? So I can't bring myself to just shoot the unboxing, because then I'd be like, so I feel like I need to add something.
You have to do something, yeah. And my unboxings were never just true unboxing. It was actually an unboxing and a tour of the whole phone. But I used to call them unboxing and initial impressions, and now I kind of break them up. So you have to kind of find your own formula. But I think to Juan's point, the excitement that we used to get from opening up a new phone, I think over time by itself, because there used to be just specific videos that only did that, really, right? You'd unbox the phone, you'd share what comes in it. At one point, remember the first Fold? The unboxing of the first Fold was actually a good video. You got the headphones, you got the charger, you got the welcome letter, the warranty. There was so much involved in it. The Z Fold and the Z Flip are exciting, but they're lacking some of that, right? So there's not as much. You're like, it folds. I'm like, it's the same. So, but I understand. I think your
But also
approach to
the
it,
boxes
Isa, is
are
good.
like this thin now.
Yeah.
I was
Yeah.
like,
There's
There's
nothing to
nothing
talk about. There's
else.
nothing to talk about in the unboxing because
I'm
It's a
almost
thin
mad
box.
they wasted this much cardboard to
Cardboard.
not give me an experience. I'll take it all the way back. Like when I got my first HTC Apache, what was that? The PPC 6700. It came in like a lump of a box, and you open it, and here's this brick of a Windows Mobile PDA, and here's one of those like wallet holsters, like in its own
The
little
accessories
pocket. The
used to be,
battery
yeah.
was a separate piece. You know, like it like was this. I think the Sprint version even came with a memory card, if I remember correctly. And it was like and a spare stylus because it came out of the antenna nub on that
Mm-hmm.
little lump of a proto smartphone. And I just keep going back to that. Like I remember when I was at Pocket Now. I remember when we did the Mate 9, I think it was. And it
Okay.
was this long, flat slab of a box that had cases and the fast charger and like you had like a drawer. You slid your phone out of a
Yeah, yeah,
drawer.
yeah,
And
yeah.
like if you're gonna use any cardboard, do that. Otherwise, just like shrink wrap like the phone and then just put it out there because it's so silly.
No, I
we, we did
Huawei
have a
does
fun
amazing.
little. We did have a Y, I
Let
guess.
me, wait. We have like, if we're talking about the case, we have like 4 of it between the two of us.
Which one?
The case.
Oh yeah, the Xiaomi cases that they put the phones in. I literally have a bunch of like nuclear footballs in my house now because they keep coming in these like freaking lockbox things, and it's just
Oh, you got 2 of them too, right?
In the last
Yeah.
week, we got 4 of these lockboxes.
Hey, Josh, welcome
These are
welcome to the
ridiculous.
collection, man. Yeah, no, I know.
so I okay. So the first time this came in-
I have 3 of them, so
Yeah,
I'm
we
not
have
That's
four
kidding.
now.
hilarious.
The first time
Yeah, yeah.
this came in, I thought it was because it was supposed to be some sort of like fun unboxing experience. No, they just put them all in these now.
Yeah. And so mine came in Manila without me understanding who it was from. It was a lock brief. That was a little fishy, the first one I got.
And they didn't give you the code at the time, right? They were
Yeah.
like,
That one was so dumb. And we were trying our best to like figure out what the code was. Maybe it's the date of
Dude,
the.
so my brother actually picked it for me. My brother does these things,
Nice.
and he can do Rubik's cubes, and he can pick locks, and he literally picked the first box, and that's how I opened it.
I'd be like sending off like some discreet email, dear lock picking lawyer, what tool do
no.
I
You
need?
send an
Love,
email to all
Juan."
your PR contacts. To whom it may concern, a suitcase just arrived to my door.
Send to all.
Yeah, please send numbers now. Thank you.
I also I also would like to be reimbursed for the $40 for the locksmith that I had to call.
Because unboxings used. So I'll say this: OnePlus to this day still does amazing unboxings. TCL, oh my God, TCL, the last one with the
Yeah,
TCL
the
20 Pro,
TCL kit was pretty
that was
hardcore.
epic. That was very nice. LG also used to do massive. I mean, again, there are unboxings and there are experiences, and I feel like those are the ones, like you said, you get cases, you get different things in there. It makes it more of an
LG
exciting
got
thing.
good just as they were on their way out.
Every-
When you got
every-
the
dude,
wing,
the wing
and it had
had
the
it.
video panel.
Yeah,
Which one was it that had like the UV sanitizer? I wanted
that was the
one.
V60.
I
For me,
was
that was the
like-
V60. Yeah,
I didn't get that one with V60.
I
Was that not Velvet?
I
Was it
didn't
Velvet
get it, so
then?
I wouldn't know.
No,
Maybe
so
it
I
was the
had
Vel-
one of
Really?
No, I'm
No,
good.
you
No,
can't
we're-
right now.
I'm fine where I am. I'm good.
We're
Yeah.
wired together right now. No one can move.
Oh.
Tech-
Oh, old technology. Remember these kids? Wires.
Did you just say
What are
kids?
those?
I don't know.
kids. Happy belated birthday as well, Isa. I know
thank
there's a
you.
lot of things going on, but I'm glad, like I said, I'm glad we have you guys on the show. This week is an interesting week because typically when Apple does something, as where Juan and I were talking at the beginning of the show,
It's the
It-
whole week.
yeah, everybody just steers away from Apple. Like, I mean, I didn't even push out a video on that day because I knew whatever I did was not important to the internet. But I guess from an initial impressions, I think overall, we kind of wanted to go around and kind of see like the excitement. Obviously, I kind of was leading with it with Isa before with the color pink on the phone. But I guess if you guys can let it, maybe what are your thoughts? What excited you actually out of the event? There's a few things I was like, I
What do you think
excited. I
she's
got
gonna
excited
say?
as
What
well.
do you think she's gonna
No,
say?
okay. So
She's
funny
going to say Tim
story.
Cook delivered the messages so clearly. He passed the ball
He's just
very
so
efficiently.
articulate.
That's
He says all the words.
The
He does.
cinematography was amazing.
No,
It was just
Oh, the cutscenes. They keep. I mean, I think whoever does that.
The only way I
cutscenes,
think they could have done the cinematography better is if they had shot it on iPhones.
yeah.
That's
it would have.
true.
Yeah, no,
Cinematic
exactly with the new
mode throughout.
Pro,
Yeah.
pro,
coming out.
video.
Yeah,
Dude,
coming
that
out
focus
later.
everything. You're just like focusing and defocusing your eyes the whole launch because it's just too much. What's going on? Ruins your focus after watching an hour-long show that just keeps shifting.
Was it an hour? I thought it was two. It was an hour and a half
Like
or
an hour and
something
a
like.
half, I think.
Yeah,
See, I shut down after the pink, which was about an hour in, probably.
An hour
So
in.
there we go.
So
Well,
that's what that's her main takeaway.
But it's funny though because my first ever MWC, I remember covering it remotely. It was in 2017, and Rodney of Gadget Match, like, just, we're stressed out. I don't know what I'm doing. I didn't know what an S Pen was. I didn't know who Huawei was. Why are they talking about Pantones for so long? Like,
Oh,
I thought
God.
there was a phone. All of these things, and like just Rodney just goes like, Isa, they talk about phones, and he goes like, I like that feature. Isa, what's your favorite phone feature? And I'm literally, without thinking, without missing a beat, just go pink. That was in 2017, and so now I'm just so happy that this is happening. But aside from that, I'm also happy that there still is a mini. I am a
Yeah.
mini user, and they say that it's
Yeah.
an improved battery because this needs it.
Oh,
I feel like a lot of people say that the mini didn't succeed because it's tiny, but I feel like it didn't succeed not because it was tiny. It didn't succeed because it has a crappy battery. I have to charge this thing twice in a
Yeah.
day if I use it.
It is and in that way, so they made sure to talk to that. I think you could see
Yeah.
that they were covering it, but an extra hour and a half doesn't really change the conversation. We'll have to see how
I think. Hold on, TK. I think it does. And Issa, this is actually something that I'd love your opinion on. Is I feel Apple has done a disservice to smaller phones because they keep talking about the powerhouse, the hardcore gaming, all of the content creation. When you go down to a smaller phone, it's my hypothesis that what you're looking at there is more like a pocket smartwatch, right? Briefer interactions, shorter form, notifications. You're not sitting there and watching movies on the smaller screen. You're not playing the
yeah.
most graphics intense games on the smaller screen.
That's true.
And I think when people try to use a mini or an iPhone SE like a larger batteried iPhone, of course that experience is going to be poorer for that
Yeah.
because of the smaller battery.
Yeah.
But I think Apple does a terrible job of kind of delineating these aren't really the same iPhone because of
small.
that battery.
Yeah.
You can't just shrink it and then say, well, it's exactly the same. You just get half as much battery life. Like that is a fundamentally different
You
product.
know what? That's a valid point. I think okay, one, I feel like iPhones in general, what's very great about iPhones is that we all cover all these brands with differently tiered devices, right? And with each differently tiered device, you really notice the performance difference. That's one big difference between like iPhones. I'd say that you get a pretty even experience all throughout. Although pros and non-pros, of course, have different stuff. Like the same experience when going through everything else outside of camera, more or less feels the same. And that's just a very iPhone thing. You could be on an SE or, well, we don't have SEs, but technically you could be on like an iPhone 13 and be on an iPhone 13 Pro, and it'll feel the same. So I feel like people expect to get an iPhone mini and just expect the same thing, exactly the same thing, in just a smaller package. The problem with that is though, like, I knew the battery wasn't that good, but man, 2-3 times charging per day, that's too much.
Yeah.
Like,
It needs an extended battery case slapped on that one just to kind of even get it to average out. You're right.
Just don't get apples. Don't get apples one.
No.
Just don't do that one.
How did you know I was gonna make that joke? I was just gonna say no, because I mean I
I was going to say get
tweeted
zero
that,
lemon
like,
one. Yeah.
that it was Apple made such a big stink out of their optimizations for the iPhone 12. We're doing 5G. We're doing 5G right. We've got the hardware and the software synergy. We're 5G is real now. 5G, 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 5G. Then the iPhone 12 mini makes it out into the marketplace, and carriers start going, well, you could disable 5G if you're having battery life problems. I mean, you just turn it off.
Okay,
Well,
you know how bad it was? I remember being on an iPhone 6s before I started switching to Android phones, and then I never looked back. I was just like, yeah. And then people were like, okay, iPhones are getting better. And I'm like, yeah, probably. And then he got me the 11. So I didn't really believe
Sure,
it. Then
I
he got
guess.
me the 11. He got me the 11. And I'm like, hey, it's not bad. It's not as good, but it's not bad. So I guess,
11 was a good year,
Yeah.
though. Yeah.
I'm still holding on to my 11 Pro Max. I am not. The 12 and
I'm
the
I'm
there's
sad.
no.
I flipped the 11 for a review challenge with Ricky, and you're like, that's actually the iPhone I should have held on to.
With
It-
Ricky? So are you saying Ricky never gave it back?
No, we traded phones. No, I had to give it back to him. But what I should have done is I should have this is the iPhone that I should have ran with, because at the time I had gone
phone swap
10s.
challenge, and it's still
And I was
happening.
like, oh crap!
Yeah, right. 3 years later.
yeah.
And
so
Ricky
it
still
was,
hasn't returned it.
It was so funny.
No.
Because,
It was me taking Ricky's iPhone, not on Ricky, not on him.
oh, well, then you probably shouldn't have returned it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that would
that's
have been
what
one
I
of
was
those.
saying. This is what I should have
Bro,
held
I
on
can't
to.
seem to find the phone anymore. I don't know what happened.
I don't know what
remember where you
happened.
put it.
I feel the same way every time
Fi-
I borrow something from Juan.
What-
I keep
What
borrowing
do you
them,
mean?
and I don't want to
Find
return.
my find my what? I don't know what you're talking about. I just don't know where the phone is. I'm
It's
sorry.
You didn't
pronounced
put an
me.
air tag on it. We'll never know.
It's pronounced me.
Find me, because they took it out.
They took it out. That's why you lost the me, my friend. You lost me.
I see where you're coming from, Juan, though, because they do make sure to market as much as possible that the iPhone 13 mini has all the same stuff as the iPhone 13.
Yeah.
And that's what people expect.
And it even comes all the way down to what I think is one of my favorite things that Apple did. Arguably with the mini, and may or may not affect the battery life and the longevity of it. But I love that the sensor shift is a thing across all the phones now. Sensor shift cameras. I think that's great. That's the whole reason why I bought this damn thing. And if it wasn't for 2020, me being in that bed and just watching stuff all day, I hate the Maxes. Let me just put that out there.
I
For the record.
remember that conversation.
I hate
I
Maxes.
hate this. I'm sorry. It's just too big.
Exactly, that's what I'm saying. It's like I like good everyday like quality of life usage. So I need a phone that I'm not gonna fiddle around with like a crazy man, which is why I don't
Issa
really
holding
like
the Max
folds.
is almost like me holding a Duo.
Dude, look. Can you imagine it? What this looks like in my pocket, honestly?
Dude,
It
Issa,
looks-
but no. When your thumbnail for the phone for the Mi Lite, the Mi 11 Lite, or the Xiaomi 11 Lite, it seriously almost looked like the phone was as big as it was like the side of them. I like that angle. I was like, I don't know if you did it on purpose, but
So, okay,
phone
I did
looks
that
massive.
on purpose because it was pink and I wanted more pink in the screen.
Okay.
The first thumbnail was like this, and I'm like, that doesn't do it for me.
But I could just
Yeah.
see Issa walking around with a Max in her back pocket, just looking like a boat sail. Whaka, whaka, whaka,
And
whaka.
he's seen it. He's seen these big pockets in my back jean pocket, and it gives him a mini heart attack every time because it
Yeah.
just looks like it's falling out. And I mean, another reason why I like the flip, though, honestly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like
Yes.
that phone fits in my pockets, and then we went to the grocery. I had a tiny panic attack too, probably 5 times because it wasn't in my hands, and I didn't feel it. My pockets weren't
You-
bulky.
No,
And I'm
no,
like,
but
"Where
that's
is it?"
that's the thing with the flip. Mine falls all the way to the bottom, and I feel like I don't have the phone in there, and I always wonder where it is. And when I have to go fumbling for it, it's one of those weird. It's an interesting design, but I agree with you. It may work for one person, it may not work for another. Like for me, I was just scared holding the flip. So for me,
Now-
the fold will always end up being the thing.
Issa, that's going to go back to my previous hypothesis. You're just making me look really good here, so just kind of roll with it, right?
Okay,
So my feeling is again, I feel people that have been criticizing the flip have been missing the point.
Yeah.
Because again, I feel like the flip is like a next gen communicator
Yes,
not
definitely.
the powerhouse you're gonna get all your work done
Yeah.
from. And I think it's interesting to see like the Flip to me is like the real fancy flex of the idea of what Apple's trying to do with the Mini.
Mm.
Let me tell you, my friends don't really understand half of what I do. They're like, Isa, this computer. Wait, you talk about tech, right? Can I ask you about refrigerators? Isa, this lawnmower is also tech, right? So it's like none of my friends really get it. Like my friends, again, I had a friend who was just like, Isa, your photos in this article suck. I'm like, these photos? She's like, yeah, they suck. They're pixelated. I'm like, those are GIFs, right? They're supposed to be moving. And she's like, I don't know what that is, but those photos suck. Change them. So like, those are my friends. I have friends like that. So I can be holding the newest phone, the most expensive phone, a $2,000 phone. They really wouldn't care. But then
Yeah.
this flip, man, I got so many questions from my mom, from my aunt, from my friends, from my cousins. Like every single person was so into this phone. I feel like Samsung really was able to paint this pretty picture of another device that people have longed for, and yet it's cute. It looks very aesthetic to people. Couple it with BTS, everyone's like, freaking BTS phone, I want it.
And I do feel like, since we're on this tangent, like I do feel like a lot of people who, it's fine to really love the Fold. There are, TK is not one of these people, but there are people on the internet who are in the comment sections that are like, if you don't get the Fold, you suck. Like they
I
really
tried
love the
both.
Fold.
I got both of them because I was very excited about the Flip, and it became more of a form factor issue for me. It wasn't that I didn't understand it, I didn't appreciate what the Flip was trying to do. Is just for me, I felt like it, and this is obviously open ended, but I felt like the Flip for me was trying to it's aspiring to fit into what a phone is already doing. And when I closed it, it was something that I kept losing, and I kept
Mm.
having to slide across the table.
I mean,
So
TK, it's
I
fine to
was
just say you're not stylish enough.
No,
absolutely
but
All
it's
right.
like, it's definitely also because it fits the needs of people who have smaller hands and smaller pockets.
Yes.
It fits. That's what I said. It is intended for a specific. There is an audience for it, and I think it's going to be a successful device. I just when I used, so coming from I personally prefer larger devices because that's
Yeah,
just how it's always
that's
been.
yeah.
The smaller
Yeah.
form factor always became um, like the 5 for me. The Pixel 5 was for me the smallest form factor I was able to get comfortable with. But I would still always jump over to the 4A 5G because to me that was the form factor I was comfortable.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. When
When
I'm
I
traveling, I could go back to an OG iPhone SE. I miss
so
that iPhone
and,
5 like
and again,
one
it depends
thumb.
on where you're going with. So
When
for
I'm on the go and I'm just like,
Mhm.
I'm looking at a thing and I'm trying to find my gate and I've got bags in one hand and I've got like a suitcase and I don't want to have to stop everything. I still feel like that Mighty Mouse form factor has been the best. But
Well,
I'd be curious, especially from the people that have spent more time with the Flip than I have, because I'm planning on waiting until it's like 600 on Swappa because it's already
ah,
dropped in price so fast.
Almost there, man.
My one of my other hypotheses on why I feel the Flip is going to be successful with more mainstream consumers is that it actually does act as a gatekeeper. Like I don't take my phone out of my pocket as often because I wear a smartwatch.
Hmm.
Well, in Android land, there's not as much consensus on watches, right? It's not, there's no one dominant force like the Apple Watch. And so I'm actually looking to the Flip for some of my family and friends who might want to spend a little bit more because the act of opening and closing it is
It's
one more
significant. It
step.
signals, yeah.
It's
It
one
signals a
extra
start
step.
and an end, yeah.
I'm not going to open my phone for this notification. I don't have to get distracted by the whole rest of the phone because there's this little ticker display. And you know what? This person's not worth my reply right now. I can actually keep my phone closed and I'm not going to lose that hour
Yeah.
from like, turning on my phone, looking at that notification. Oh, right, I've got to do this other thing. And let me just check Reddit real quick. And then like 30 minutes later, you're like doom scrolling on Facebook.
And
And
God help you
I
if you have
really,
TikTok on. Yeah, but no, yeah, I know what you mean.
I really like that idea of like there is a physical barrier to
Yeah.
interacting with your. It has to be worth it. It
well, it's
has
not
to be
even
worth
just
it
for
for me to open
yourself.
this phone.
it's not even just for yourself, it's for the people who you're interacting with, because it is very much a signal to that person where you're just like, you're in the middle of something and then you go, all right, what were you saying? You know, like that's, it's important for that. And that was the thing
Yeah.
that I love about the Flip, is that like it is just another smartphone when you think about it. But there's just enough that's different about the experience of handling it that it
It
makes
is, yeah.
cool. And
Dude, it's a
that's
cool
why
smartphone. It's a cool
I
smartphone. Let's
so
all agree on that.
this is the uncool department, and you got both the cool departments right up there. This is how
No,
we're
no, no.
doing the show
But
today.
I don't have one.
so
I'm just spitballing here.
if we
Oh
think
no,
about it, though,
Aditya has it on point, man. You're calling me not stylish, bro. That's not cool.
no, but if we think about it, though, it also might just be a matter of proportions. Like to me,
Mm-hmm.
this phone is basically where's your other phone, the smaller one? This one. So this proportion with his hand and this phone is this proportion with this hand and my phone, right?
Yeah.
But it's a smaller phone. The same way with TK and the fold and his pockets and the flip and my pocket. So it might
No,
just
absolutely.
be, the answer to everything might just be math. I don't know, but
and I
We just
always
need to.
wanted
I need to
ask-
buy. I need to buy skinnier jeans. That's pretty much what we're trying to say. I need
wanna-
smaller pocket. I get it.
I want to see a Venn diagram of people who bought the Fold who also are big fans of tablets. Because that's always been
Yeah.
my whole thing. Is like I've just never been a tablet person. So it's like opening up a phone to a bigger screen doesn't do much for me because I've never really had
So,
that.
The weird thing, I don't actually use tablets. I have a tablet, so I'll take that one step back. I have a tablet on my desk that I use as a wireless connection to my A7S III, so that whenever I'm recording audio, I don't have to reach across the room to be able to click the start. But on a daily, like to consume content, no, I'm pretty much whatever phone I have, I'm reviewing, ends up becoming it. What I like about the Fold the most. So this is something, and obviously this is very unique to me, but I take my son out to every day or so for his karate, swimming, and so on. There's a lot of times where I'm sitting in the car and I'm waiting for him to finish, and watching a movie on a phone in this form factor in the car when I need to put it somewhere to land is very different than when I'm watching it at this perspective. It truly becomes yes. At that point, I do want the real estate, the speakers, the experience. That's why I like the Fold 2 a lot. Like when we first hung out at the back in the day,
Yeah.
and that's why I was really hoping for the Flip to meet that expectation for me, because there was enough changes in it that excited me. Like when I was watching the launch event, I kid you not, and I told this to Juan, I was very excited for the Flip. I wasn't as excited for the Fold. I felt like the Fold was very much an incremental upgrade. They did a few things, minor things here and there, the IP rating, the pen, all of that. But I didn't feel like that's what the Flip finally became truly bona fide for me, because it became functional with the display, the IP rating, the stereo speakers. They're running the legit 888 this time. They didn't give us last year's generation of the CPU. We have, you know what I'm saying? They met all the boxes that I was expecting. And then I got to spend a couple of weeks with it, and I was like, I couldn't fight the urge. I wasn't strong enough. I'll say this to Juan's point. I couldn't fight the urge. I would read the notification, but I would automatically open up the phone.
Yeah.
I do need that pocket
So
communicator, but I needed
This
to.
is
Yeah.
the personal thing I've been walking away from since the death of my precious Focals by North. Is I
Yeah.
need a gatekeeper. I need something that is going to stop me from doom scrolling my phone on everything that I do. And so this is okay. I like smartwatches, it's fine.
I love-
But this
I'm
feels
glad.
like such a huge evolutionary step back from a heads-up display. And so at least for those other people in Android land that are kind of like me, or too easily invested in what drama goes on their phones, I love this idea. Again, it's another reason why I like that the Duo doesn't have an external display, and I close it, and there's a finality
There's
to
a
that
finality to the
action.
conversation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where
No,
if I'm going to open it, it's got to be worth it.
I feel what TK is saying though, because like I still have to finish whatever content I'm going to do on the Fold, but the main point I was going to make is there was a moment where it made perfect sense, and that was on a plane. Like I
Yeah.
was watching everything on that thing. I played a bunch of games on it. Issa could not get me.
I
could
was
not get my
pissed. He
attention.
wasn't talking to me the whole plane ride, and I was just trying to get his attention the whole time,
was
and he
like,
was
"Nope."
just like,
Watching
Well,
Korean
Issa,
dramas.
if I can just mansplain here for just a second, you see the internal cabin of an airplane is roughly 100 decibels. So without
Dude.
constant hearing protection, trying to engage in some sort of conversation is actually
Uh-huh.
very detrimental to your hearing.
And if I'm
I
and,
mean,
and,
okay.
and if I'm wearing noise canceling headphones, which I was, that even brings it down more.
Wait, on that note though, Juan, let me just say one thing. I made my dad watch your video on like hearing and how like
Oh, right
earphones,
on.
And he
because
went, "What?"
Yeah.
he listens to very loud TV, and I keep on telling
Yeah.
him, hearing is blah 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 blah, and he just. I mean, I'm no ear doctor, so I linked him resources, which was your
Yeah.
interview. I mean, that's the end of the story. There's no end. That is it.
So one other thing, there are still, I mean, they're a little old fashioned now. They're not quite as cool as like, when they started coming out like 3 or 4 years ago, but some of those audio transmitters. So there's like a little puck that you can attach to your TV's audio output that then sends to a pair of Bluetooth headphones. And so you can, I mean, it's little things, right? If you give him an okay pair of noise canceling Bluetooth headphones, he might not need to listen to the TV as loud
No, but
when
he
it's
just.
right on top of his ears.
But that's what I'm scared of. I don't want to give him earphones if he's
At
gonna
this
put them
point, I
too
mean,
loud.
the only real solution is getting him to an audiologist. But
Yeah.
for the quality of life, and so that he's not blasting sound and no one can like hang out with him, because I feel part of the reason why we're seeing those correlating rates of hearing loss with dementia, a lot of those brain degenerative diseases go
Yeah.
hand in hand, and it's scary how well one can predict the other, at least for his quality of life, and to have people around him so he's not completely ostracizing. I feel like it's a good interim baby step until you can get him talking to someone that might be able to fit him with better hearing aids or some other kind of solution, just to kind of help with that.
Yeah. I mean, it's pretty interesting. So I did a DNA test. I'm apparently prone to hearing loss, and it's funny that came out because my grandfather is the same thing. Like he is very hard of hearing, and my dad right now just watches a lot of loud TV. So I
Yeah.
was just like, stop.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a whole tangent, but like, I don't know. It's just you're right in that. And I saw. Okay, let me rephrase. There was a comment about how okay Michael Pepper Tech was saying that this conversation reminded him about disruptive tech, the idea that certain things like smartwatches can bring us back to when tech was a tool and not as much of a distraction,
Yeah.
which is yeah, I agree with that completely. That definitely, I mean, wasn't that the whole concept of the razor?
Yeah.
That was, but I mean, I have to say though, I feel like when Razer came out with that, it sounded more of an excuse as to why we were not given like better hardware. So like
Yeah.
I was really just not willing to take it at this point and at that price point. I love the idea of the Razer. It wasn't there. Even the previous flips, I love the idea. It wasn't there. But for this particular flip, I can 150% say that I recommend this phone. It's not going to be the best phone. It's not going to be the best cameras. But just like how comfortably I feel holding it, having it around. Like, we switched phones in Hawaii. And let me tell you, I hated carrying the fold. At some point, I was just like, put this in your bag. I don't want to like hold on to this. It's annoying. Because I couldn't even like flip it open like if I had other stuff in my, I mean, when girls, have other stuff in their hands, you know that joke about how girls just like have the gift of holding everything in one hand because we don't have
I used to do
pockets.
this terrible thing to my wife when we were first dating. We'd be walking around a Target, and it was the game, how many things could I get Marie to hold, even though we were walking around with a shopping cart. And I mean, like, there was one time I think I got up to like 23.
Dude,
And so she was like armfuls before she realized what I was doing. And like, I'm walking around with an empty cart and she's holding all of this stuff.
no, it
But
isn't.
but again, it's the same issue. I'm sorry, just to kind of reinforce your point, it's the same issue I have with a lot of other products. I feel like if there's a good reason for you to occupy both of my hands, all of my tactile attention, visual attention, and audio attention, then you've developed a good productivity tool. It's what I loved about the Note. You were rewarded with that S Pen for using both hands. And I feel like there are varying degrees of success with other products, and for what you're describing, for you on using something like a Fold, puts your whole day on lock
Mm-hmm.
as you are just operating the basic
Yeah.
mechanics of how that phone functions to do your thing and then to close it all back up again. It's like your day is properly stopped
Mm-hmm.
just in the operation, and that doesn't feel
Yeah.
empowering to me. That
Yes.
feels disruptive.
It basically intrudes on my day. In the same vein, like I vlogged with the Z Flip the whole day. We were at the beach. And I'm like, sure, we're not dropping in this in the water or in the
But
sand.
we were so careful.
Yeah, that's real brave.
But
That's
but
really brave.
yeah, but I enjoyed playing with it. I enjoyed using it at the beach. It was with me. The moment we switched and I had the Fold and we were on the beach, I'm like, this is staying in my bag. And then I had to fumble if I wanted to check my phone because I had to take it out, but then it was just way too big. It just didn't sit anywhere. It just had to. It was just I couldn't. I
Yeah.
couldn't.
No,
So.
yeah, no, like I said, it's a form function. It has to meet your expectations and what you want out of the phone. But that's the thing about it.
No,
Each person
TK,
has
you're
their own.
wrong. Issa has decided Fold equals
No.
fail. We need a wacky thumbnail, and we've
So-
got the title of our.
So,
of
so
our
that's
podcast.
the
But
F in the
also-
Fold. F.
I gave you a thumb. Wait, baby, I have to act like we're fighting. Wait.
No, I'm no.
That's that. We need to caption this one. It's exactly at 56 minutes.
I'll do prayer hands laughing.
And I'd be like,
Yeah, that's exactly how I am gonna catch this one so bad. Oh my god, I'm gonna have to come back
Oh,
exactly.
that made me so
56
happy,
minutes.
guys.
56
I'm
minutes.
just-
So all of that to say that her main takeaway from the Apple event was a pink phone.
yes.
And
Well, yeah, coming back to the cut.
I mean, better wide cameras. Always
Yeah.
a great thing, right?
Definitely, always improvements on the cameras and so that was Issa's main takeaway. Obviously, the new addition of the color, some improvements on the camera system.
My main takeaway from the Apple event is that the Fold was really hard to hold.
It really was that.
Josh was really
got
still
to
stuck
that
with the Samsung Unpacked event from a few weeks ago. That seems to be the concern. Josh needs to let things go.
But again, without this being Juan has another cranky rant about trillion-dollar corporations, I was really glad you guys were able to come on because I'm kind of not even sure at this point how to approach an Apple event. Like I honestly, I don't even know what I want from Apple these days. And so obviously I did my live tweeting where it was just a bunch of snarky responses to Apple putting up
Those are always
unlabeled
fun.
performance claims
Yeah.
that don't have any context. But beyond that, like, if someone were to ask me point blank, like, what would have made you happy? I don't know.
I think we're
I
still
really
in,
struggle.
I think we're still in the position though, even if like no matter how we might feel, we know too much. The four people in this chat right now know too much. Okay, and the thing
Fair.
is, even as
Or
I
everybody
might
in the
feel-
chat, yeah.
Yeah, that too. Even if I might feel a little bit excited about something that was announced, I also understand. I have this understanding of Apple that every single event is a very small yet arguably significant step forward. They move the needle literally a tick every single iteration. And because I know that, nothing blows me away. Like nothing
Yeah.
ever blows me away at an Apple event. That being said, I do enjoy the fact that they introduce, like I was saying earlier, the sensor shift in all of the cameras. The cinematic mode might be pretty fun. Who knows if regular people are actually going to want to rack focus all the time in their TikToks, for example? Who knows?
Yeah.
So
Dude, we need a study, a correlation between phone users' eye focus and the introduction of rack focus on iPhones
That would
because
be good.
literally if people start going crazy with this feature, we're all gonna be staring at our phones and just
Trying to figure out. No, I don't get me wrong. I like rack focusing on the Xperia One Mark II as much as the next guy. I think this is one of those really nice additions they added. It's
I'm
just
the next guy.
yeah, I was gonna say he's the next guy. It's to me was more about so like there's a few things that kind of stood out to me. The watch definitely did. I noticed there was some nice improvements done on the watch. Unfortunately, that's not coming out for till later. But honestly, the weirdest thing, the only thing that stood out to me for the whole thing, which is something I've been waiting for years, is the fact that they joined the 120 hertz club that was something
True.
for me because we've been asking for 100. They
Promotion.
introduced it.
We've had it on iPads. We putting it
For
on an
years,
iPhone.
and
Yeah.
every year we keep saying Apple, 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 and it's finally there on the Pro series. So at least that for me, that's one of them. That was literally the most exciting part. It wasn't the colors, it wasn't because overall, that would be the biggest difference. That would make me consider it if I'm leaving an 11 Pro Max. If if an iPhone user and that's the ecosystem I choose, that would make me switch over to another version of the iPhone. Because last year's didn't really do it as much.
Mm-hmm.
But having 120 hertz, because I understand the difference, the performance, especially for gaming,
Yep.
I can appreciate that. But I didn't find anything else that kind of grabbed me as much. It was more of the finally we got it.
But that's the
Yeah,
Apple
and
effect,
Josh, I
right?
was really
Because-
curious because sorry, I was literally segueing to you, Josh. So I'm gonna shut up
It's
and
fine.
please continue with what you were saying.
Well, that is the Apple effect, though, right? They move the needle literally just a couple of ticks, but it causes this ripple effect in the entire market. The fact that they introduce to their iPhones, not the iPads, even though they do add promotion. Now that they have 120 hertz on their phones, more game manufacturers are going to adopt it. We're going to start seeing higher frame rates in games that are developed moving forward. Because, like, the first game to come out that everyone wanted to play on every single iPhone that they possibly could was Genshin. But it was at a time when high refresh rate wasn't really a thing, like on phones.
Well,
Now
and,
it
and to
is.
this day, Genshin is capped to 60, regardless of what device you're on. 60 is the
everything that comes after
maximum.
that is going to become more 120 capable, I feel like. So they move the needle just enough. Well, here it is.
I'm gonna start gaming on an iPhone, except I have never done that ever.
Yeah, it's still got the plastic on it. So
No, that's good though. That's
But-
doing it right.
But that's
Doing
the
it
thing
right.
too. It's like everyone's going to be adjusting to adapt to these new things that were put up. Like I bet you there's going to be a lot of accessories that are going to take advantage of cinematic mode and now of the 120 and all of that. So there's going to be a lot changes when Apple just moves a tiny bit. And it's you could say that that's kind of a weird way of like operating, but it's how they've always been.
It's going to be like I said. Everybody got you pick what you want, what you're excited about, but you do have a point there with the 120. It hopefully will push and improve the ecosystem for games because it's very frustrating when in certain games, specifically mine, Call of Duty Mobile, it runs a different refresh rate depending on the phone I'm using.
Wow,
right now, Sony has
not the power of those phones.
No.
The name of those phones.
It's just the name. It's purely the name. If you're on an Xperia 1 Mark III, which is one of the things I really miss, you can play it at 120 hertz on a 4K panel. Dude, this is literally the best thing ever. I go over and I'm running on let's say my OnePlus, I'm running on any other device. No, 90 frames per second is max. The Red Magic 6 has 165 hertz refresh rate display. Can only play that at 90 hertz
Not
because
really.
it's live. No, I mean, you know what I mean though. It
I do know
doesn't
what you
matter
mean.
it doesn't matter what you have. 90 is the best. But I'm hoping that this is going to change conversation and we're going to start seeing companies pushing towards the 120 and giving us that, because there is a big difference going from 60 to 120. Actually, going just to 90. Going to 90 is a night and day experience.
90 is the big jump, I think, for most consumers out there.
It's 50. It's a 50% improvement over what you've already done. Going from 90 to 120 is a much smaller improvement, but it is a big jump. That 90 hertz. So regardless, I'm hoping that also helps with the ecosystem, because I didn't see anybody showcasing examples of how the fluidity, the animation is going to be scrolling through apps. We didn't really get a lot of that feeling.
Well,
Go, Josh, go.
I was going to say the only for the pros though. I mean,
yes, of course.
Right?
Oh, of course. Yeah.
This was another thing that, like I said, I'm working on a takeaways video from the Apple event because I've had a couple of days to think about it. I do like where Apple is starting to draw the lines more clearly between Pro and Max and everything else, because Pro, now there's some very obvious reasons why you go Pro, and that would be the screen, the cameras and whatnot. But I'm glad, because one of the points I wanted to make earlier was that I got the Pro Max. I paid all that money for the Pro Max because I wanted to try that new sensor. But now the Pro and the Pro Max have the same camera hardware, thank freaking God. So if you want to max out, that makes sense to me that you want to max out on the screen.
Go 1 terabyte.
Battery,
Go team 1
1
terabyte. Man.
Yeah, you can do that, but you don't have to. And thank God for that. Like I don't have to buy both.
Thank God, because I'm not buying a big iPhone.
Well, but I do think, because that was one of the things that bothered me the most about so much of the coverage on the 12 Pro and 12 Pro Max. So we had all these techies lined up to say, can't go with a Pixel. That camera sensor is too small. The 12 Pro Max now uses a larger camera sensor. And you're like, yeah, but not the 12 Pro. The 12 Pro uses the same sensor as a Pixel 5 and costs $200, $300 more. Where is your outrage over Apple doing the same thing? No Pixel 5, too small, bro, too small. And so at least, I mean, that's the thing that always bothers me is you go to like the spec sheet on the 12 Pro and 12 Pro Max, and they just say 12 megapixel camera system.
Yep.
And you're like, that's almost a lie. That's almost, an anti-consumer misrepresentation to say that they're the same number of megapixels, bro. Like that's not true. And so at least this year, it doesn't feel like there's that schism between the two products that they're labeling Pro.
Yeah,
And
so
then more than
I'm
likely
firmly in the camp of I don't need to max out. I really don't. So thank goodness that I can just get the 13 Pro, enjoy all the same things. Thank goodness for that. So that's honestly, if I had to pick one main thing, it would be that. I also have another thought that I can rehash a little bit later. But you notice that there was nothing about audio in this event, right?
No, not
Nope.
one. It was,
Well, and I'm expecting that there's going to be some follow-up announcement. We'll have to have Jeff El Jefe reviews back on for like whenever AirPods decide.
He was
to
really
I was
It's
truly
flashy.
expecting AirPods Pro to come out. There's a sequel. I had a few companies reach out saying, "Do you want accessories for them?" And I'm like, "Okay." So I'm thinking,
Wait,
okay,
what's
we'll
happening to them? Or what?
Well, okay, so this is the thought that I was going to put into my video, and I pretty much just went I think Apple didn't feel the need to make a big splash about them if they're still on the way, because they've already covered all the bases, to be honest. If we look at a lot of the earbuds that are coming out right now, there are certain features that are starting to pop up in different price brackets, but Apple already covers those price brackets. They're already, the AirPods Pro is down to $179, which is still $20 more than what you would call that mid-range, but it's still cheaper than it was before. They're the thing is they're fine. So many people, they provide when they came out, they provide all the same features that everyone else is still scrambling to put into their sub 150 earphones.
I mean, you can look at earphone that have a better ambient mode, probably less good ANC, wireless charging in the case, and you can get them for $50.
True. I mean, I always find it hard to introduce the sub 90 because I don't really use any of them. To be fair, I have to admit that.
Again, it was Jeff that kind of got me back into them, because when I first started trying out True Wireless, they were legit garbage. And then I started catching some of his videos a couple years later going oh, something interesting is happening here. And I feel like there's that Apple Pocket where AirPods exist for Apple consumers, and then those consumers never look to see what else is out there.
They've covered that base already, is what I'm saying.
I was telling John.
But in covering that base, there are so many more people that are going to get drawn into that ecosystem, not understanding that competitively, you could probably buy in at a third and still be supporting all these things that you think you care about from these AirPods, or even climbing up to a comparable price, but then getting even more hyper exotic features. But to kind of bring that back to Apple and audio, I think one of the reasons why I was a little disheartened to see so much on fitness and to see refreshes on the Apple Watch and not get the audio component is because it's Apple's own ecosystem that is actually broken for Apple consumers. So if you want the best out of your Apple Music subscription, there is no Apple solution for that. You've got to go buy a DAC and cable up your AirPods Max and spend $700 to get the full benefit of your Apple Music subscription. And that to me seems to be the most broken part of their It Just Works ecosystem. You bought in on your nice almost $200 earbuds. You're paying every month for your Apple Music subscription, and Apple has no solution for you for lossless. You're still out in the cold. It's nerds like me that have all the dongle DACs that are living it up and treating our ears.
It's the next frontier, right? Because there are a lot of even Qualcomm themselves have made it clear we're going to start supporting lossless. We're going to have a real focus on it. So it is the next frontier. I just feel like up until that point, I think that they
But
they
is
pretty
but
much
is
cover those
Apple the
bases.
creator and the keeper of their own ecosystem? And are they
Yeah.
the market leader? And are they the most profitable tech company on the planet? Or are they slow and late, reactionary, and just extracting more value out of their customers until they can flip the switch? I
I think
mean,
it's that
it's hard
it's
for me
that
to
ba-
not get real cynical about that
Oh sure,
when
yeah.
Apple's in charge of the whole hardware software synergy.
I mean,
Yeah.
I'll always understand the fact. What?
My butt hurts,
Oh, okay.
so I'm gonna hop out. I didn't have the best seat in the house, quite literally, so I'm gonna hop out.
Oh,
And
snap.
I fattened this thigh up for you.
stop.
The so the and I agree with you there that like if people are willing to put in the actual work to like research to get cheaper but also lossless, that makes perfect sense. It's
Mhm.
just that is our internet connection going in and out right now?
Nope, you're
You,
back.
you got
I was
just a
gonna say,
little chunky. You,
Oh,
you
okay.
you came back though. You're back.
Alrighty. I agree with you that a little bit of research goes a long way, and it's a criticism that we've had with Apple forever. It's just that when I think about it, it's I do have to preface this by saying that I've actually been impressed by Apple Audio recently. I actually got a pair of AirPods Max, and I have to say they were a good time. so, so I actually was trying to think like this is the ultra premium, obviously, and then the AirPods Pro
Right.
are smack dab in the middle of mid to higher end, and then the AirPods. I don't know. Like I know Apple could dominate if they just put ANC in a pair of $99 AirPods, but are they realistically ever going to do that?
Yeah.
I don't think they will for a
It's a
while.
I think
foregone
it's
conclusion.
at some point they will.
ANC
Yeah.
eventually travels down to the open ear AirPods too. I mean, especially again, it is so stupid easy getting
Well, Huawei did
surprisingly
it
good
with their
earbuds
didn't Huawei
with
do it with their
ANC.
FreeBuds 3, the open ear?
Yeah, well, and I mean Samsung Beans. I mean, like
Oh,
there
yeah.
is going to be some reaction there. But Josh, to your point, and I don't want to keep harping on this because, like I said, I didn't want this to be the cranky one podcast again. But my problem is again a bit more philosophical. It's is Apple a market leader, and is Apple actually living up to their reputation as the It Just Works company? Because you shouldn't need to do your research when you buy into the Apple ecosystem. You shouldn't need to be like me to get the most out of your Apple Music subscription. If Apple really does live by their mantra of It Just Works, then they should be finding those ways to deliver the absolute best, cohesive, plug and play, don't even need to think about it solution for their consumers as a $1 trillion corporation. And that's where I've got a problem. It's not for people like me. People like me will do the research and find those exacting audio solutions that fit our specific tastes. What I'm worried about are my cousins who always need to buy iPhone Pros to like flex on their friends and stuff like that. And they're buying in at these really high tiers with this fundamental misunderstanding of what it is that they're actually getting.
I
And
understand
that's
that,
to me
yeah.
where I have the problem.
I think that the education of lossless is going to be the biggest hurdle.
Well,
So
because
many
I don't
people-
want any education. I don't want any. I want someone to buy an iPhone, buy AirPods Pro, and then you pair them together and you get the highest possible wireless audio bit rate for all of the information that happens in lossless. And you should never need to think about it. You should never need to go into your settings on Qobuz or flip a switch in Spotify or figure out what MQA is on Tidal. That is what Apple should be doing. That is Apple's perceived like benefit, is that you should never need to go digging through all that stuff to get the best of what that service has to offer.
But what
And
do
right
you
now
do, though?
they're actually punishing the consumers that have bought in both sides of the hardware and software ecosystem, because people like me have a better experience on Apple Music with Android than iPhone consumers do with Apple Music.
I think that such a convenient yet powerful audio experience is never going to be as cheap as even what they're having right now. I think it's still going to be at least $199. I think it's going to be at least $249, even if it's a pair of earbuds, because lossless codecs and the hardware to drive them properly, even if they make it as easy to do, it's never going to be in a $99. So like waiting for a AirPods like refresh that is that cheap. It's not going to be the lossless AirPod.
Well, but even not waiting for it to be that cheap. I mean, if you're telling me that it needs to be a proprietary chip like the W1, so you get a W2 that now supports some kind of higher quality lossless, it's kind of like Qualcomm adaptive. Fine.
Yeah.
But do it, because right now Apple has gone how many generations of earbuds and is now, I mean, they've always had ALAC, ALAC as their own Apple lossless audio codec. They've always had some solution for that. They've never done better than AAC. Even with aptX adaptive, we know Apple wasn't going to license a Qualcomm codec. Even with LDAC, we knew Apple was never going to license a Sony codec. So why didn't they roll their own? Again, it's like when you're talking about those little baby incremental ticks and ticks and ticks and ticks, this one's lopsided now because they're actually putting out a service that people are currently paying for that their own hardware solutions cannot properly support. And those consumers don't understand that, like, if you really want everything that you're paying for, the best way to get it is to leave the Apple ecosystem. And that to me is heartbreaking for Apple consumers.
I'm not really familiar with the tier lists on Apple Music. Is it a higher tier payment to get lossless quality, or no? Oh, okay,
No,
I didn't know that.
You just need
that's
the
why
hardware
it
to
should
support it.
be so plug and play. That's why it should be completely hands off. It's not like Spotify and whatever HD they're going to do, or how Amazon was trying to structure like Amazon Music and Amazon HD or Tidal with masters. There's actually this really great perk in Apple Music where you pay for it, and that's it. You're done. You don't have to jump through any hoops to get like.
Well,
the better
Amazon
version or
just
the
copied that
spatial
exact
version
same
or
thing.
anything like that.
The moment Apple announced it,
Apple did it,
Amazon,
and I was like,
then they're like, oh, Amazon HD, it's part of the same thing. You don't have to
yeah,
pay
us
extra
too.
for it. Yeah, we're also cool.
I did pay for it for a little bit, and I'm like kicking myself ever since they did that.
No, there is so just to kind of summarize, I do get both the approaches that we're looking at. I think
No,
Juan's
TK, I'm
approach
right.
is Juan's approach, which
That's the
is his it really should be more of a plug and play, which is what people do typically expect what Apple to do. And the fact that we still don't have a solution, or at least a solution, not the total solution, but a solution, a pair of wireless or wired earbuds or something from Apple that addresses basically saying this is the premium experience that we offer on Apple Music. We want you to truly be able to enjoy it. Right now, as Juan was talking about, I mean, I can use the Bolt, we can use the THX Onyx, you have to kind of play the dongle game to get that hardware to play it. It's possible, but the average Apple user would never even venture into that. But I think that's the concern, is like, when will that kind of happen? Because the moment Apple starts bringing that in, we're going to start seeing the adoption much faster across the rest of the ecosystem. Both Qualcomm and Apple want to provide us with better audio. Wireless is obviously the solution that everybody's been pushing, and we need it to be at a higher fidelity. Once you listen to MQA, or even if you're listening to mastered audio with the right hardware, Josh, it changes your perception of the audio.
Oh yeah.
But it tends to be more of what Juan was saying. Why we know it, we can research it. The goal is hopefully that we want to be able to get that so that Apple can move forward. Don't offer a service that you can't support it yourself on your hardware, because right now only Android users are enjoying it. It in a way, and I think that's the concern. And I was hoping maybe that's why the AirPods. Sorry.
Even to that token, it's just easier on an iPad. Like if you
there
have to
are
do
going to
the
be
dongle
obviously
dance,
many
it's still,
solutions.
like,
Absolutely.
fewer hoop jumping.
It's just that I think to truly take the full benefit of everything that Apple offers, there's that one component that's missing right now. Lossless has no home except for other systems, and I think that's what we just want more. We want it to be that solution, as Juan was saying. Plug it in, and then you get to listen to the best audio in your life. Whatever the artist is releasing on Apple Music, you get to enjoy that. And I think that's what it is. Yeah.
I finally made my choice where I'm going to go Qobuz, and it's just great. There's a little icon at the bottom of the Qobuz app, and you're listening to this in 24-bit. You're listening to this in 16-bit. You're listening to this in 24/192. And you're like, yes, I am. I can tell by the little lights on my deck. I'm good. I haven't touched anything, and it's the best that you have to offer for that song in this moment. And
Yeah,
I want that for Apple Music.
I
Juan loves to
really,
listen to the In the Moment song, by the way. Yes.
I have enjoyed lossless audio, and I understand like how enjoyable that quality can be. I guess it's up until that very point when that is the next need that Apple needs to address. Up until that point, I feel like they've covered so much is really like the point that I'm trying to make there. And if
Okay.
the next AirPods comes out and it supports lossless, I will gladly bite my thumb and say, okay, there you go. Like that's exactly what we were waiting for. But if they come out with another pair of AirPods that just happens to have ANC in it, I'm going to be like, like it's just, I don't know. Like even Samsung tried to do it with the Buds too, and they were still priced $149. So if Apple tries to put out a 149 like AirPods 2.5 or 3 that is only $30 less than the current Pros, I'm going to say just get the Pro. So that's why I think they've covered a lot of the bases already is really where I'm coming from with that.
I get.
I just mean like in saying covering the bases, like I think to me it's more they've got this market on lock, and that market of consumers isn't going to look for any alternatives, and it's really not difficult finding comparable performance at lower prices. And that to me is also kind of one of those philosophical, sticky,
totally.
ranty
Right.
issues that I've got with Apple is because if it's just marketing, then why are we in this game of tech reviewing to talk? Well, I mean, this and the performance and this and the pricing, and you're like, yeah, but the people that are mostly buying these products probably aren't listening to us. You know, like I can't out market a $1 trillion corporation. So
Yeah. Well, that's why I begrudgingly say I enjoy the AirPods Max, because I know that there are people out there a little bit like yourself that will say like, yeah, but it doesn't support lossless, and I'm like, it's not the highest quality when you compare it to like a what's the one that Sony uses, LDAC,
LDAC?
XM. Yeah,
aptX, any of those. It doesn't even support all of that, and I'm like, yes, they never said it. And granted, they don't say a lot of things, but they never said they would.
Right.
But with that in mind, I put them on, and on that plane, I was in a whole different world. And they were
Yeah.
literally the most comfortable headphones I have ever used. I have to actually say that. They were actually the most comfortable. Jaime would say no because he admits to having a huge head. But but I have the
I
most
got a pretty
average
big head too.
well, I have the most average head of all time.
Yeah.
So all earbuds and all headphones tend to work just fine for me. So I'm good.
But with that being said, I don't want to, obviously, we covered a lot of the iPhone. We could spend a whole night over the conversation there.
Apple
But
would want us to.
Apple would want us, but I want to actually kind of cover one thing. We talked about Xiaomi, and we talked about the launch with the 11Ts and so on. But I brought it up to my attention earlier tonight that apparently Vivo announced something during this week, which I totally missed.
Speaking of amazing audio, no, I'm just playing.
Oh, I don't have my views up here. I got
Check
like
out my
they're
lawsuit.
real low tech Bluetooth audio glasses. This really boutiquey little company. They don't have cameras. They don't have anything, but it's just like these little teeny speakers, and each arm is like its own separate true wireless earbud. So you can like turn the one side on and one side off.
Seriously though,
So
Josh,
so silly, but it's like I kind of dig these things.
if you
This is
didn't know he
fun.
was wearing them, you would think he was wearing regular glasses. The stems, the arms are so thin that you
They're
can't
so
tell.
thin.
Yes, it's way like
Yeah.
even with the ones that you have right now, you could still kind of see that they're thicker than the average glasses. There's something that can stand out. I mean, obviously, if you guys have hair, but anyways, if you had hair over it or something like that, you wouldn't notice it. But
Okay,
Juan's,
we
Juan's
need
were
to go
really
down.
good.
We
Sorry,
talked
I
about the
didn't mean
view.
to- I wanted to be sure I got the joke in before we got to the next thing.
No, you're good. You're good. Because also for glasses, I want to circle back to Xiaomi, but because you got to spend, Josh, some time with the X60, the Vivo X60.
Yes.
I don't know that I've ever been more excited for a Vivo launch than seeing the kind of breakdown on what's going on with the X70. So I was wondering if you'd had any chance to kind of dig through the press release on what they put out for the
Not
X70.
yet, and the reason why is because I actually have a scheduled briefing, so that's why I'm just waiting for that. But if I know I'm gonna meet with someone and get to know something, I don't really read anything. So
No, that's
but I will-
totally fair.
But I will say the X60 was an impressive camera system that I felt like could introduce some new things in other, like in future iterations, but as it stands right now, should you get this phone because it has a gimbal in it? I went kind of not, because it didn't really blow me away. Maybe I'm just a steady shooter anyway. Maybe that's just what it is, because I really didn't feel that much of a benefit from it, to be honest. It was there, and if I'm stable and I'm like this, that's fine. But guess what? Guess what happened? We already have stabilization modes for locked and active on other phones now too. So what is this piece of hardware actually giving me? So I said it's probably going to get better. I am excited to see what X70 brings to the table because of that. But as of that time, and it was also in the middle of, like, it was one of my few times actually leaving the house in 2020. So like I was just walking around with it. But I was just walking around with it, and I was hiking, and it was hot, and I had a mask on, and I was like, this is none of this is fun. Like, none of this is fun right now. So that's why maybe I wasn't in the best state of mind at the time for it. But I will say,
I don't think any of us were.
I agreed. I think it has a benefit. I just don't think it really trumps anything else.
So here's what I would like to just to kind of like throw out for anything that you might do. Completely agree on the normal stabilization that goes into our phones. Like if I just tuck my elbows on a OnePlus 9, you know, no one's going out of their way to say like OnePluses shoot the most amazing video, but if I just kind of tuck and I kind of relax into holding the phone with both hands, you would swear it was on a tripod. Like, that's how good average image stabilization has gotten on our phones. When I went out to a park with Lex, one of our few outings last year with the Wing, and I flip it into gimbal mode, and I'm skipping with her, running up and down and around this playground, going down slides and stuff like that, the OnePlus, at the time it was the OnePlus 8 Pro. The OnePlus looked like garbage, of just mess and shake, and the stabilization couldn't hang. And that gimbal was, I mean, it was like a steady cam following active 4-year-old around crazy park jungle gym. And that to me, I think, like, I've seen so many videos of someone holding the Wing and doing exactly what you just said. Like, it's so incredibly smooth as they're like walking at like the slowest possible pace.
Tiptoe.
And you're like, you could do that with like an iPhone 6. Like, that's no different.
Well, here's where
to me,
here's
it's
where
like,
this is my analog to your lossless conversation with audio. Here's where my kvetching comes in. Yes.
Yeah.
Great to see that stabilization achieved. But I hate losing 4K to just get that. Because that's usually what happens, is you turn on the software stabilization and it goes all the way down to the middle resolution. And that will always bum me out. Every phone that I've ever, even the cinematic mode on the iPhones is only 1080p. I'm going to say that's a bummer.
OnePlus 9 Pro will keep 4K for their
4K
super
30.
steady mode.
Yeah,
but
4K 30.
it goes down to this 4K 30, but it's also it's also not quite as smooth as like a Samsung super steady mode, which kicks you down to 1080p.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think, like, I think one of the best variations on that was actually giving my daughter the Wing, where she did a walk and talk vlog for grandma with the gimbal and the selfie camera at the same time. So she was kind of like running around, and she almost dropped it a bunch of times. You watch the video and it's like pointing off in crazy Dutch perspectives and stuff. It was awesome. But yeah, I mean, that's a 1080p video to send to grandma, not like action cam bicycle. Let me show you this cool stuff and make it look like a GoPro ad kind of.
No, yeah. It is exciting. I mean, I did a little bit of reading on the X70 Pro Plus. So I guess there's a
the Pro Plus. Yeah,
they're
Oh,
going
God,
they're
that
going the
whole thing
Huawei route. The Pro Plus
Yeah.
X, all of that good stuff. It looks promising. It looks good. Fast charging, decent. You know, the display looks really nice. Punch hole camera for the selfie. I mean, overall, it seems like a reasonable contender. And the package that it came with includes a whole bunch. Like the unboxing experience on that one should be very exciting if you're able to get your hands on it. I have to bring it back to the unboxing, my friend. They include a pair of buds in there. There's a case that comes in there, a leather case or something. Like, truly, you want to get that feeling back again. You know what I mean? Like that's the excitement. 90% of it is opening up the new gadget, and you don't want to just open a box with a phone that's wrapped. You know what I mean? Like
And a cord to choke
and
yourself with.
exactly, which I never did even touch. But I think the biggest thing for me, realistically, is I'm excited to see what Vivo has to offer. That was actually very nice. To actually, thank you for bringing that to my attention. I was I was pretty much nose into Xiaomi land this week, mostly because I got
Yeah.
two phones and with two cases, as Josh knows.
Well, what I wanted to throw out, and the reason why I kind of like did my, well, let me Juan-splain to you, Josh, about how I like gimbals, blah 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 blah. How would we feel about maybe doing a smartphone video obstacle course?
Obstacle course.
So
Go to like a park, something ridiculous with like slides and you know, like monkey bars and stuff like that.
So
and
three
we
grown
each
men
pick,
in a kid's playground.
yes, absolutely.
Three.
And we
With
just kind
cameras.
of map it out. And,
Doesn't sound weird
each
at
of
all.
us brings a phone, and we see what video stabilization can actually make it through a little mini obstacle course. I'm good for about 40 seconds of moderate running, so I figure, you know, it should be pretty fun.
But we
It'll
need
be
to
a
get
short.
past the 8-minute mark for the ad set.
Well, no, but we could put all three videos together and kind of cross pollinate
On
each
loop.
other's channels. I know, like, if I pick a OnePlus, I'm only going to get about 90 seconds of video recording in bright sunshine. So
Before you get that
before
thermal,
the phone
yeah.
overheats. So
But then what the viewers don't know is that we all cheated and used DJI OM5s.
well, I'll have to
pick-
wear
you pick the
mirrored
phone and
sunglasses so
I
you
will
can
get the gimbal.
see.
We'll have to get you some super soft glasses just so you could see exactly which phone, which holder. No, that would be an interesting challenge.
As a phone challenge, we can kind of mix it up on each of our channels and see. I'm just
an
putting it out
obstacle
there,
course.
just spitballing something fun
Yeah,
to do.
I'm kind of down. Honestly, I am. On the topic of the Vivo stuff, I do need to like put this out into the ether. I need Vivo to do one thing for me, like, you know, any of the little like gripes I might have with the cameras or anything like that. Those are all just sort of built into it. You know, that's just I'm very picky when it comes to that stuff. Overall, though, good camera system. You can get some good stuff with it. That's always been the case. Can we just like, okay, two things. Can we just get their OS to like polish up as much as possible? Like, because there are just times when you're going through that operating system and you just see like text is not rendered in the block well enough, and there's like there's misspelling sometimes, and like I know that happens, and that's fine. But it's also called Fun Touch. It's also called Fun Touch. Can we, I just needed. Can we just? Can we? Issa just said, "Why are you so mad at having fun?" I don't know. It's just when I'm using the operating system, it's just like, I don't know. All these things just sort of, they don't irk me, but it's just like I kind of need this to be a little bit more polished. I just need this. I need it a little bit more.
A lot of the things we used to have with a lot of the like, you know, the MIUI with the Oppo and all, a lot of them have fixed themselves up so nicely
Everyone's
now
caught
that
up. Exactly.
everybody's caught up, and
Yeah.
it was there was that shift with Android 11. Everybody jumped on and it was like, bam,
And
we
the
found the phone.
outside of the phone looks more sophisticated than actually using the phone.
Yeah,
Like
exactly.
the Vivos look like that kind of presented premium smartphone, you know, vibe, and you would expect the look of the stuff
The
you
soft
do
phone.
on the phone to kind of match the outer
It's just
wrapper.
when I boot that thing up and it goes Fun Touch. I don't need that. I don't need that right now.
Like, I feel like that's gonna put you on a list somewhere, Josh.
And we're taking it to a playground. I mean, come on. Like, what are we doing
Oh
here?
crap! This conversation just gone. We were talking about leaks
totally
earlier in the
gotta do
show.
this.
The show is just
Or if we feel weird about that, maybe we could plan, like, I don't know, like a Malibu trek or something like that.
no,
and
Malibu,
pick up-
going to the beach, Santa Monica, going around. There's a lot of things like going to the pier. That could be challenging as well.
Do they
Very uneven
still-
terrain.
Do they still have those, like, trampoline parks? I'd be down.
Oh.
Yeah, like, I forgot what
I
they're
want to
called.
say Santa
Oh,
Monica
that
used to
would
have
be
one. The pier used to
cool.
have one.
Yeah.
I would die, but it would
Are
be
you
so
wait? Hold
worth
on. Are
it.
you talking about the kids trampoline, like the fun
Oh,
house?
my battery just died. Might be.
That's a good free. That was a
You're
that was a.
good. That's great.
Josh was like, The
I
whole
hope
the
I have
rest.
another battery. What's that? Anyway, go ahead. Please continue.
Well,
No, I,
so kind of wrapping up Vivo. Well, offline, there's got to be a little chatter
yeah,
about
no. We'll
some
have to
kind
set
of.
some as a challenge. Maybe we'll bring in some news more next week on the on the follow up show. I think it's been an interesting week. Like I said, I mean, the reason why I was kind of like jokingly saying about the 24th, it's because that kind of become like that void of time where everybody and anybody is going to be talking about iPhones and so on. I think I honestly, so my initial impressions, or at least my impressions of the 11T or the T series from Xiaomi at this point, having spent again some time with the low end and the high end, I didn't get a chance to play with because the mid
Mhm.
range, by the way, was running a MediaTek chipset, which is actually a new one, a 1200 Ultra. So it seems like MediaTek is running custom SoC for the 1200 to multiple companies.
Oh,
Like
MediaTek is crushing right now. So
They
one,
are.
remember, yeah, yeah, the Nord
spoiler for
2
your media briefing, even the Vivo is separated by, like, there's going to be a 70 Pro Plus with a Snapdragon, and then I think the other tiers are going
will
to
be
be
MediaTek.
MediaTek's.
Yeah,
And I'm fine with that because, like, yeah,
No, it's
yeah.
awesome. I
it
love
is.
the
It's very nice.
competition. It's crazy that, like, especially from these Chinese brands, like, they are hard segmented, and now each kind of SoC manufacturer sort of represents one of their price tiers.
Mhm.
Yeah, yeah,
And
and
that's it. I mean, like, and you're properly split up that way.
The
yeah,
Dimensity 11 and 1200. I mean, they're
they're
sleeper
crazy.
hits,
They're
honestly.
crazy.
Absolutely. But I love what they're doing with the 1200. Like they did the 1200 AI for the Nord 2. Now they're doing the 1200 Ultra for the 11T. So you're getting that little bit of a different experience, but you're getting it customized to the carrier. So
Mhm.
Xiaomi wanted a specific version, OnePlus wants one, and MediaTek is customizing it. So it's exciting to see MediaTek kind of like where they are now and where they were a few years ago, and the fact that they're literally everywhere, but almost very few people know that they exist other than they're on smartphones. Like if they ever use an Alexa or an any Amazon product, they probably already have a MediaTek SoC running that little guy, any IoT thing. They're in there. So very excited to see. Like that was the main thing what I wanted to kind of drive, because I think Isa had the 11T, I got the
Mhm.
11 Pro, and I think you got that one as well.
Yeah.
But that was the one they told me they were going to send, but I never got. So I'm hoping I still get to play with it. I'd love to see what the 1200 Ultra is, comparing it to the 1200 AI on the Nord 2, because
Mhm.
that is a crazy good phone. The Nord
Yeah.
2 is definitely, they did a really good job switching over.
That's
So
another one that I'm so late on. I have a video ready to ready to be edited from the Nord 2, and I just haven't gotten around to it because once I was done with the Nord 2, getting that camera test done, the foldables came, and then we went to
Yeah.
Hawaii, and then we came back, and the Pixel 5a was there too, and and it just got
I
tech is relentless.
and it's that
well,
time.
and
Yeah.
I need to find, I think, better stories for each phone rather than trying to fit each phone into the same process of reviewing. Because, like, I'm just now digging into some TCLs. I mean, like, I've had these things forever. Like, these, I still want to talk about them because I think there's something interesting about what this company is trying to do. And you're like, I'm way off the pulse though, so that's great.
Nah,
But kind of circling back to Xiaomi, because I'm the nerd, and Josh, you were just showing off some Ray Bans there. Do we think Xiaomi can finally move the needle on smart
wearables.
glasses?
On the
I
tech
honestly
side,
don't know.
yes. On the tech side, yes. On the style side,
Yeah.
I'm gonna go with no because they
Oh, you
look
don't
Yeah.
like the look of them? Yeah,
nah.
No,
that's totally fair.
they're yeah, I mean, so obviously he's hanging out with Ray-Ban company and so on, so it's different. The style, I'm totally with you. They're not trying to look stylish. They're very
I
much
think. Well, I think
they
they are.
they're I no, don't get me wrong. I would wear them in a heartbeat. I don't care, as long as I can get my glasses inside of them. I should be fine. It's one of those things you kind of have to appreciate. But it's the same thing with glass. With Google came out, they didn't look stylish in any shape, way, or form. But I loved wearing glass, and when I used that as much as I could, as long as the battery would last me. That was one of those experiences that you literally had to be tethered. Um, I was very excited to see what they're trying to offer, and I would love to be able to see what they can. I'm hoping that this just literally becomes global and it actually gets released, because I
Agreed.
saw that the word concept was thrown
Yeah.
on it, which could
Yeah.
mean that this is just a picture, or
Yeah. I once that video, I saw it in my subscription feed. I
You're like,
messaged everyone I knew. Yeah, I was just
I
like,
know.
when can we get at this? And they're like, it's just a concept, Josh. It's just a concept.
I know.
I was not subtle. I was not dignified. And I hit every single Xiaomi email contact PR. I don't care. Put me on whatever list might exist. Do it. We need this to really be a thing. But their concept, I think it looks pretty sharp. I mean, like, this is I think the best looking version of this.
They look like shutter shades without the shutters. That's the problem I have with it. Like,
that's fair. But I loved my focals. Google Glass was such a heartbreak also, that these are another step towards just sort of looking like regular glasses. Is again, it's baby steps until we can miniaturize this stuff even more. But
we need more. We need that iterative
Xiaomi
process to work. I think that's what it is. The more generations,
because
the more
Xiaomi can actually give us a Gen 2.
Yeah, exactly.
We've never gotten a Gen 2.
I was so excited about the focals, and I was so excited that they were going to happen. They teased it. They said it's coming, and then a week later, I get an email saying, "Yeah, we just got bought out by Google, so no, we're on hold." So we're like, "See you later. Nice knowing you." And I'm like, "Okay."
Broke.
I do the form factor. Again, I wear glasses on every day, so for me, having accessibility to that type of content will be that type of gatekeeping experience that Juan was talking about, where if I'm able to interact with my content a little bit on my glasses and I don't have to grab my phone all the time, that makes it a little bit more exciting for me to, be in the moment and not necessarily have to step away every time to check what's going on. For me, it's mostly because I run so much work, day job and regular YouTube and other things going on. I tend to gravitate towards the largest form factor I'm able to fit in my pocket. So that's probably why. But I will say this. It's been an amazing week. We are very, very happy. Both Juan and I are very, very happy to have you, Juan. Sorry, Josh. This can call you back, Juan.
It's gonna happen again.
And it every single time when you have both of you in the same frame. And then, of course, having Isa to hang out with us a little bit. Hopefully, we'll be able to set something up. We'll have some lunch or something like that. We can hang out. I would love to be able to break some bread and try to discover new places with Josh. It's never a dull moment. Every time I go anywhere, he has something.
We're hunting for Laksa these days. Like, that's what we really want right now.
I heard Isa right there, of course.
Hey.
But I will say this. It is roughly about the time that are kind of right, Juan. I mean, we're kind of around that time.
Yeah.
I think my camera's about to die again anyway.
Yeah, I was
bringing this plane in for a landing.
trying to bring it in. There's a lot of things going on. Tech changes, and it changes at different pace depending on the manufacturer and the ecosystem that you're in. Today's conversations obviously took us into different directions, but it is definitely very clear that I'm in the wrong for liking the Fold, and thank you for confirming that.
True story.
I didn't realize I needed a live stream to confirm that. But at the end of the day, I will say this. We are a product of who we are based on our experiences and what we use, and what makes sense to you may not make sense to us, but that's part of the conversation. That's why we love discussing it, and we love having different opinions, and and we're all friends here. So just don't take this as one direction over another. But I want to say thank you very much to everybody for hanging out with us. Thank you to Josh. Thank you to Isa for coming on the show on such short notice. Always appreciate it. Thank you to Juan for being our main guy and always driving us to be better and doing better in our lives. And I think I look in the positive in everything we look, right? At the end of the day, that's what you want. And I think if you listen to the message the way he says it, that's what you should be listening to. It's the do better, be better, and love your ears, because at the end of the day, we covered it a couple of times. Once you lose whatever you have, you can't get it back, and it's hard to fix that. So thanks to Gary, Aditya, Tech for Nerds, everybody hanging out with us. Thank you for everybody over also on the replay channel. If you guys have a chance, check it out on the audio podcast. Hopefully it'll be up sometime tomorrow or so. And Josh.
And he's out. That was perfect timing, Josh.
And that was Josh
hung in there, bud.
I'll just do that.
Hold on. Yeah, we'll bring Josh and that's and
I'll just
Boom.
do that.
with that being said, peace out. Take care. We'll see you guys next week for another episode of the best of our week. And of course, be safe and take care, everybody. Bye bye for now.
Bye, everybody.
Bam.